The Norse mythology of the courts of Valhalla and separate from the world church where it is handmade and what takes place on earth also happens in heaven. David Waglif was crossed through Jesus Christ after he lost his head, and Jesus Christ pulled it off of Mary Magdalene. The hardest thing in the church is the test and the trial at the awakening of the throne. It is the only grand plot. It is the last one still with their head. It is a receipt to a custom. When Odin has the eyes of the ravens and Caesar has the eyes of the hawks, as Malachi and Jacob, the African and the Irish, are in a slave trade. And Jacob is a sign of judgment when you see the grasshoppers or crickets. And the slave trade is a trickery of prayer, or making somebody else's sin yours when you fight it. Meaning, don't prey upon others no matter what the circumstance. But if you are forced to complain, explain it, so that the spirit that has come for purification, which can be only the light idea for a cause of such sacrifices, is purification, whether it be the spirit or the person and its soul being or self in the sacrifice itself. But the pure rational understanding mostly is in the slave trade theft. And in this theft, the receipt to a custom that which keeps the world turning, it is a demonic thing in a sense, and not so demonic in another sense, for they are children of God. Yet the childlike manipulations that come in are fun. You still must remain strong in the times of fighting for the throne. And when I say fighting for the throne, I mean defending yourself for the throne. For the throne only awakens within. And there is nothing else in this world after that, after the stars have been spread out into the skies and we have our own uniqueness to our soul harvesting in our vessel that awakens within to the throne. We are with ourselves, but there are some that come against us for our throne. In a sense, you understand that I'm not one person and another person is not me, for I speak different than that person, I act different than that person, I walk different than that person, I hear different than that person. But that person has come against me in a time of blessings with God, or trials with God, or temptations or manipulations with God. And this person seeks after my throne, or key with the heavens and the earth in the times of Jacob, which is the sign of judgment, in the slave trade of Malachi and Jacob, which is the African and the Irish slave trade. I'm not so sure what it is with the Indians, if the Indians take place with the slave trade, or if it's just something that the Assyrians and the English and the Russians, and I haven't read that much in literature I'm not a racist person or anything, but I do, like any other normal person in this world, defend myself. But I haven't read that much. But the slave trade, mostly in those days that are biblical and roughly several thousand years ago, in the dinosaur ages, uh, to now, it's only been Irish and African. So the irony of it is when they come against you with no plausible cause, you can't fight them, and it's okay to pray, but you have to defend yourself. It's a unless it's a physical fight, a spiritual fight. If you pray on somebody, you pray yourself on somebody, and that's against God's laws. So I thought I would share that. I'm just sitting here waiting for my trial to be over, like everybody else.